All right, I think we're all set. Sorry for the late live stream tonight. Had some things going on in the house with the family and everything else. Things are all good. We were just doing some stuff outside. Okay. What do we got going on? Bitcoin today was obviously trading. Miners were not trading today. So we had a day. Today is Juneteenth, right? Holiday. So that was a nice break, maybe, on the miners. Not trading today. We'll see what they do tomorrow, but we will take a look at obviously what Bitcoin did today. We'll take a look at also on the miners. Just there's some stats on them, and then we'll also take a look at the FASB Impact that's going to be happening here on Q2. We still have a couple more days for June to end out the second quarter, but we'll look at what the current numbers tell us as far as the HODL position on the miners, how much they added into it, what that impact could be on the Q2 results. And then we'll get into Q&A, so it should be pretty short and sweet here, and let's get into it here, but we got to go through this as always. Not financial advice, return only, do your own research. Full disclosure below that. Hit the like button, subscribe, helps me out tremendously. And let's take a look at what's going on with Bitcoin here. So the title of the video was Pivotal Moment for Bitcoin, right? And I think it is a pivotal moment right now, at least in the short term. Long term, I still think we're going to do fine, but right now in the short term, we've been battling with this 50 simple day moving average here line for the last, I would say, well, for quite actually going back all the way through June 5th here. We came down to a low of, what was that low there? 100,377. We bounced off that 50 simple day moving average, and then we did pretty good here, going back up. Then we started coming back down here. We battled with it again here on Friday the 13th of June, and then we battled it last 3 days, and we're battling it currently as it is right now on the 50 SMA. So what do I mean by pivotal moment? Well, it's going to have two things are going to happen. Either one, we break up above this, or we break below it. And right now, the way it's looking like, the more times that we are touching it, the more likely we are going to break below it here. And what is that going to mean for us here? Well, possibly, I think our next stop is going to be possibly right around like 97,000 if this doesn't hold here. We don't have much support here. I mean, we have to go back to here, probably, what is that, 101,000. There is some support here that you can see in the past here. So 101,000 would be the next line that I would kind of look at. If that doesn't hold, we're looking at maybe 97,000 at that point. And then if that doesn't hold, then we're going down to like right around here, about 94,000, 93,000 at that point, which would be definitely quite a big drop there. And also maybe signal us to go even further. Because if we look at that 50 simple day moving average line here, last time we broke below it here, we obviously went much lower here. We broke, right, we tested it here, kind of similar to what we're seeing set up right now as it is. And then we went above it, broke below it, went above it, and then finally broke below it completely, and then we went way down here. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen. I'm hoping that this is just a little accumulation phase that we're in right now, because we have had this in the past as well. This is definitely a lot longer, more extended here than we've had here recently. You can see here where we had, consolidation, right over here. We went up, consolidation, we went up, consolidation, we went up, and then now we're kind of in no man's land. We do have, I mean, maybe this triangle is going to break out. If you look at the triangle here, if you draw a line from here to there, draw a line from here to there, maybe we're going to break out of it, or maybe we're going to break below it. But so pivotal moment for Bitcoin right now as it is. We'll have to wait and see. Par is saying in the comments right now, fool everyone with the double top. Let's go. So there, maybe this could be a trick on the bulls, or actually the trick on the bears, maybe possibly. I don't think we have a double top just yet. I think we might still go a little bit further here, but we're at that kind of point right now where things could play out differently here. All right, so Bitcoin obviously finished out in the red today. It was down approximately 0.23%. It finished out at 104,671. Like I said, we're still at that 50 SMA right now as it is. We'll see where we go tomorrow and into the weekend as well. That might tell us a little bit of the direction that we're going to be going into in the next week possibly here. So far, June is not working out great for us. Like I said, the miners have not traded today. Today was a holiday, so they weren't trading. So we really don't have any updates on those guys here. So we're just going to take a look at here. For June right now, we're just up 0.25% as it is. Historically, June has been half and half, right? 50% of the time it's been in the red, 50% of the time it's been in the green as well. If we look at previous bull runs here, it's mixed. So in 2021, we were negative about 6% here. Going back to 2017, we were actually positive 10% here. Going back to 2013, we were down 30% roughly, right? And then when we look at like July and August during the bull runs here, we can see that in 2021, we at least had two positive green months for Bitcoin at that point. 2017, we had the same thing, positive months here. And then going back to 2013, we had positive months. So maybe we'll end up in the red here for June, but possibly if history repeats itself like it has in the past at least, we might end up being in the green in July and August, and then we possibly would probably have like a red September. September looks like it's always been a sell point here going forward. We can see that in 2021 we had a red month here, 2017 red month as well, 2013 was a red month, so we'll see if this is going to play out the same way as it has in the past or not. But yeah, definitely kind of interesting. We're at a pivotal moment right now. We'll see where Bitcoin goes. Nobody has a crystal ball. We don't know. But we do still have a lot of companies buying it. We'll see if Strategy bought some more this week. We'll find that out on Monday probably. We know that other companies are still buying here. We have some good news on that as well. And we can also see that the exchanges are getting low on Bitcoin. I mean, they're not completely out of it, but it's getting lower and lower from where we have been in the past. We'll take a look at that in a second here as well. Bitcoin ETF inflows for yesterday, we had BlackRock buying 278 million here, so that added to the total here, which came out to be 388 million in the positive still, right? Even though Bitcoin's kind of flat more or less yesterday. Today, like I said, no trading on that one. And then here we go, Bitcoin balances on all exchanges here. You can see this line, this is the green line, this is the number of Bitcoin on the exchanges here, and this is going back to basically February 8th, February 9th, roughly, where we had approximately 2.71 million Bitcoin on exchanges, on all exchanges, and right now we are down to approximately 2.08. So roughly 700,000 Bitcoin has come off the exchanges here, which coincides with the next one we're going to take a look at. I think is the next one we're going to look at as well. So we're seeing obviously a lot more buying happening here over the last, I would say, 4 months or so, 4 or 5 months as it is, and we're seeing that number on exchanges go down here, which is good. We want that, and we want the price to go back up here, and it has been going up ever since then. This one here is, yeah, so this coincides with this, right? You're seeing exchanges getting low on Bitcoin, or getting lower on Bitcoin, it's not completely out, but you're also seeing the BTC Treasury holdings of public companies has surpassed 768,000, worth over 82 billion as it is right now, right? And we had, what do we have here? A drop in exchanges of 700,000 roughly, more or less, right? So that's being taken out by these companies that are obviously buying it all here. You got a bunch of companies. So it's going to continue on, I think, right? You got Strategy, you got Marathon Digital, they keep holding everything. Riot is actually selling some things. Galaxy is definitely holding a bunch there. Cleanspark is adding to their HODL. Tesla is not doing anything, it's just holding on to it. Hut 8 is adding to it a little bit, we're guessing. Metaplanet is definitely going to be buying here. Coinbase is going to be possibly buying it as well. Block, same thing. GameStop, Semler, Bitcoin, Hive. I mean, you got all these guys here. They're going to be stacking more Bitcoin as time goes on. And that's going to result in the amount of Bitcoin exchanges going down here, which then should, in theory, increase the price of Bitcoin as well. Price, simple supply and demand economics here. Less supply, more demand, price should go up here. Right now, we're just being tested. Like I said, it's a pivotal time in Bitcoin right now as it is. And you can see the numbers here on the table. You can see the numbers on the table here for Bitcoin exchanges, where a lot of these exchanges are having big decreases here in the last 30 days. Kraken's down 48,000 Bitcoin here. You got, who else is down quite a bit? Bitfinex is down almost 19,000 Bitcoin. Coinbase is down 30,000 Bitcoin. This is just in the last 30 days as it is. And not a lot of inflows here. You probably have, total, let's see here, 21 total, down 80,000 Bitcoin here in the last 30 days. So if that continues on, you know what's going to happen. Bitcoin price should go up. Okay. Next here, just in publicly traded, the Smarter Web company bought another 104.2 Bitcoin, worth 88.1 million for its treasury here. Again, more companies buying it, taking it off the exchanges. This is great news there. This is from the Bitcoin historian here. Breaking, I found this quite interesting here. Ex-CEO confirms social media giant will add investing and trading to the web app. So, I mean, we're viewing this on X right now as it is. I use X pretty much daily to see what's going on it. I use it multiple times actually to see what's going on. I mean, I build this whole stream around some of the comments that we have here, or the posts around what's going on with Bitcoin here. So if they add into it investing and trading, I don't know if it's going to be crypto just only or if it's going to be also stocks, but that's going to be huge, right? Musk's plan here is to make X the everything app. So you'll eventually be able to trade, invest, bank, order food, order taxis, probably for Tesla and others as well. He wants to make it into like a Chinese version of, I can't remember what that app is called, but there's a Chinese app that has like basically all this stuff built into it. And he's trying to do the same thing with X here. Nonetheless, there's a lot of people on X. It could also be really good for people that are on X, that are posting information, things like that, where they can, possibly generate revenue from that as well. And having more people on the platform have money in the system, being able to tip and things like that. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see how this plays out. Don't know when this is going to happen, but this is great. I think this is also going to be great for Bitcoin adoption and maybe adoption of like Dogecoin, Ethereum, and maybe others as well. We'll see what they actually offer on here. I'm looking forward to it, to see what this is all going to come out to be. So this is great news there. And it's, like I said, more adoption for Bitcoin is great. And finally here we got breaking. Mexico's third richest billionaire just said he's increased his Bitcoin holdings considerably this week. So what does that mean, right? The rich and everybody else is buying as much as they can. And, are we being manipulated by the market? Possibly. Are we also maybe seeing retail, plebs, selling out of Bitcoin for one reason or another, for, just because they're exhausted with all this manipulation? Maybe that's the case too. I don't know. I'm still holding on to the Bitcoin. I think I have a much longer time frame horizon. So I'm not worried what happens in the day-to-day with Bitcoin, whether it goes up or down. Yes, I love seeing it going up. I don't like it going down, but my longer time frame is another couple of years. Hopefully Bitcoin by that time gets to $1 million and I can possibly have maybe an early retirement. We'll see. But I'll still be doing something in my retirement. I just can't retire completely, but it would be nice to be on my own time and schedule, and instead of having to punch a regular 9 to 5 clock in. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see, but this is, like I said, smart money is buying into it. We're seeing companies, countries, and everything else buying into it. I still strongly believe that Bitcoin's going to go up here later on this year. It's just right now we're being tested. We're in a pivotal moment right now. We'll see where we end up at by the end of June here, which only leaves us with what, roughly 12 more days or so, roughly, more or less, 12, 11 days of the month left. So we'll see. All right. So that's it on the stories that we have here and everything else that's going on here. We're going to quickly just look at the miners comparison charts here. We're going to look at hash rate comparison here. So hash rate growth over the last 12 months. IREN has grew the best, percentage-wise at least, 309% in the last 12 months, followed by Cleanspark 154%, Riot 140% as well. And then we've had Mara 90%, Hive 106%, BitDeer up 97%, Cypher up 69%, and Core being down actually 11% on that one. Exahash added here. IREN added 31 exahash in the last 12 months, followed by Cleanspark at 27.6, and then you got also Mara at 27.6 roughly, Riot at 20. So there's definitely a lot of exahash being added there by those guys. Hive added so far 5.3 increase, so that's really big for them as it is. Cypher is up 4.8. BitDeer almost 6.7 exahash there. Core lost about 2.3% of network hash rate right now. Mara has 6.6% of it. Cleanspark 5.2%. IREN 4.6%. Riot 4%. Those are the big guys there. In the space here, you can see how everybody else stacks up. Current hash rate, Mara the biggest, 58 exahash. Cleanspark about 45.6, followed by IREN 41, Riot 35, and then you can see everybody else as well there. Future hash rate, this is questionable. We don't know exactly where these guys are getting to. Marathon could grow even more later on this year. They just haven't provided any guidance. Cleanspark, they're saying about 57, 58, maybe higher than that. Maybe they could go above 60. We'll see. IREN's going to be at 50, I believe, so that should be probably lowered for them. Riot, I think, is pretty much capped out where they're getting. BitDeer is supposed to get to like 41 there. And then everybody else is kind of where they are as it is. Percent of operational future hash rate, you guys can take a look at that as well. That's just where they need to grow a little bit more here. BTC mined, Bitcoin comparison here. So year-to-date BTC mined, Mara has mined the most, almost 4,000 Bitcoin there, 3,940. Cleanspark 3,283, IREN 2,719, Riot 2,507. And then the smaller guys here down below. Excuse me. You can see that there. Year-over-year BTC mine difference. This is pretty interesting here to see. You can see again, IREN, Mara, Riot, and Cleanspark doing really good, with IREN having 397 more Bitcoin mined in May than they did the last year. Even after the halving event, that's awesome to see. Mara 381. Mara also had a fantastic month in May there. Riot was up 299. Cleanspark 277 there. So all these guys have done really, really well building out after the halving event and growing their hash rate, which resulted obviously in them actually increasing what they actually mined last year after the halving event, which is quite fabulous to see. And they're just not being valued for that right now as it is. Current Bitcoin HODL on these guys, Mara has the most, almost 50,000 there, 49.179 thousand. Cleanspark, or actually Riot at 19.2. Cleanspark at 12.5. Hut 8, we don't know exactly. I think they're around 10.2, 10.3, somewhere around there. And their value right now, as it is, Marathon has 5 billion, Riot 2 billion, Cleanspark 1.3 billion, Hut 8, 1 billion, as it is right now. And a bunch of guys here with about 100 some odd million as it is. So, and as you all know, Marathon, Riot, and Cleanspark are not really being valued on their HODL or their operations, or they're way under. So they're, in my opinion, they're definitely being manipulated by the big guys here. Excuse me, I gotta take a sip of water. Okay, hopefully that helps a little bit with my throat. But that's just some stats on the miners as it is, year-over-year comparison, a little bit on that. Let's get into FASB here. So FASB impact on the miners can be quite big because it can actually result in them having a positive EPS or a negative EPS, right? Last quarter, we saw the miners got beat down because the price of Bitcoin went down from the end of Q4 to the end of Q1. This time around, we're actually looking like we're going to be at a higher price unless Bitcoin really falls here in the next 11 days. But overall, we should be on the positive side of things compared to where we were at the end of Q1. So we're looking at what was their HODL basically in April, May, June. We don't have the numbers yet for it, so we're kind of estimating right now where things might end up at. We'll update this again when they provide the June numbers, but this is what's kind of looking right now if things just kind of stayed the way that they are. Okay, so we have that. We also have how much Bitcoin they sold, basically, or added, if anything. If they added, we get an increase on their April FSB. If they sold anything, we don't get anything on that. It just has an impact on their overall HODL at the end there. So May was the same thing. If they increased, we added value there for it. And then that's all added here towards the end here. So based on that information, currently it looks like Marathon will have about a 1 billion impact on their balance sheet or income statement, whatever you want to call it. So that's going to be huge for them. We'll take a look at what that's going to represent in the earnings per share roughly. Riot is going to be up 431 million there. Cleanspark 271 million, and then we got Hive being up 50 million roughly. Cypher 23 million, and BitDeer 27 million. We don't have Hut 8 or Bitfarms because they stopped providing their monthly updates, so they're not included in here. We know IREN doesn't HODL anything. CORZ does HODL something, but we just don't know. They don't provide it either. The reason I'm still including CORZ here is because they provide their daily Bitcoin production, so I can at least track that and see what they actually mine for the month, but we don't know as far as hash rate is. We can estimate what the hash rate was, average more or less, but we don't have complete details on it. So we're partially covering CORZ as it is right now. And then if we look at their EPS data here, so based on the number of shares that they have currently, that might change. Obviously, by the end of the quarter here, we'll get an updated result on that. But based on that, BitDeer looks like it might have an impact of about 14 cents additional to their EPS, minus whatever the other costs were. Cypher could have a 6 cents impact, Hive 32 cents, Cleanspark 97 cents, Riot $1.21, and Marathon $3.07. So they should have at least, I would think, Cleanspark, Riot, Marathon. I know IREN's probably going to be positive on the EPS, regardless if they have a HODL or not. They have been positive the last 2 quarters, I believe. So they should still be positive here, unless things really changed for them for the worse, which I doubt that they did. So I'm expecting IREN, Cleanspark, Riot, and Marathon for sure to be positive EPS. Hive is questionable with 32 cents being added in there. I know that they've spent quite a bit to build out their sites to get to 25 exahash. I don't know what the costs are going to be on that. So Hive is questionable for me right now, but it might be positive as well. And then we'll see where Cypher comes in at as well, if they were able to generate more revenue along with keeping their costs down. We'll see. Okay. So that is it for FASB Impact right now as it looks at 3/4 of the way in on June. All right. That's it. Let's get into Q&A here. As always, spreadsheets are available to my Patreon members. They get access to the private Discord as well, and yeah, you get access to all the spreadsheets. Link for that is down in the description. Let's get into the Q&A, and we'll call it a day. And we got tomorrow is Friday. Wait, today's Thursday. Jeez, the week is going by way fast. Tomorrow's Friday, so we'll cover whatever else happens tomorrow. But let me get up to the questions here if there's any. If there's not, we're going to call it a day here. Let's see here. Heinz's got a question here. Let's see. Question: I'm officially bag holding Bit Digital. Do I have a chance? I like Bit Digital a lot. Let me see, where are they? I got BitDeer. They're in a smaller group here that I have in here. They're at 241 right now. I think, let me put the screen on for you. So here's a chart of what it looks like right now. They bought a facility to transform it into HPC, Tier 3 data center, I believe. Recently, that was the news that came out. I like what they're doing. I think they're concentrating on some of the smaller customers there for HPC AI. It's just getting valued on it, right? Like a lot of these guys. And I also like the fact that they're buying sites now, that they actually have, they're not asset light, they actually have assets, they have facilities. I like that a lot on them. But they're going for like these smaller contracts, smaller deals, and they'll eventually add up to something, but it's going to take a little while for them to do that. They're not going after the big guys like enterprise, huge enterprise, or hyperscalers or anything like that. They're going after the smaller customers that want data centers and HPCI potential as well, which I think they're doing the right thing here, for them at least, right? But are you going to be a bag holder? I don't think so. I think I don't think you're going to be a bag holder. I think as long as they keep doing what they're doing and report good things, the stock should go up. I mean, the stock was up much higher, depending when you bought into it. Just this past year, in the last, 7 months, I would say. This was back in November. They were at $5.74. They're half what they are right now, a little bit more than half, actually. But yeah, I think Bitcoin going up. They're still mining Bitcoin as well. That should help them out. They also have Ethereum on their HODL, right? So that should help out there. So I don't think you're going to be a bag holding it another year or 2 years. I think you might be able to take profits later on this year if things work out well for Bitcoin and Ethereum as well. All right, let's see what else we got here. All right. Eddie says, fatigue is setting in as Bitcoin holds above 100,000 while miners are struggling with the global economy slowing. A pullback is looking increasingly likely. Okay, yeah, that's why I'm saying pivotal moment, right? If we don't hold where we are right now and bounce off the 50 simple day moving average, then I think we might be going down. So it'll definitely be interesting to see how this plays out here. Let's see, BLM says Trump won't do anything to IREN. All he is doing is causing uncertainty to the market to screw people's retirement. Sometimes it feels like that. Yeah, did somebody whisper in his ear, hey, the market's doing too well. I need to put a little uncertainty into it. Have things come down. Who knows? See, Neville says, I love the new comments showing up on the screen. They've always been showing up on the screen. At least they should have. Neville says, if Trump takes his shot at IREN, he better not miss. I mean, they got to get that worked out, and hopefully, I'm not into wars or anything like that, but they got to get it figured out. This is not good for the markets, obviously, not good for us. So we need to get that taken care of. Marcus says the sentiment is so low. Yeah, sentiment is low. I can see it in the daily views. I can see it in the comments. I can see it in everything. Everybody's beaten down, or it could be also that the summertime here in the United States and people are just out and about. It's beautiful weather, at least where I'm at. People could be just paying maybe a little bit less attention to the miners and Bitcoin and everything else, and just taking vacations and things like that. It could be also part of that. All right. Eddie here says, given the challenges facing Bitfarms, operations in Argentina, mining companies with assets outside the U.S., Canada, and Europe should be valued at discount due to elevated jurisdictional risk. Yeah, that's kind of what we've seen here in the past, but they've transitioned more of their operations to the United States. I think they're going to be like 80% in the United States and 20% elsewhere, I think. Right? Or is it 60-40? I can't remember. Somewhere around there. I know it's a high percentage being in the United States now. for them. So yes, there was definitely a higher elevated jurisdiction risk, like you said. That's why they sold their site in Paraguay to Hive, so they can concentrate more on the United States side of things, which I think is the right move there. So they're doing the right things. It's just will they get the love for it or not is another story. All right. Let's see. Sorry, Melon says to start a poll. Are you red or green on the miners here? All right, let's do that really quick. We'll start a poll. Start a poll. Are you green or red on the miners? I personally am still in the green. All of them except for Bitfarms. Let's see. Green, red, start poll. That's the only one that's giving me trouble is Bitfarms. But again, I sold 2/3 of my position back in November, December of last year. So I was still in profits at that point. All right. Marcus asks, have you sold out of Bitfarms? I have not. I still own about 8,000 shares, roughly. All right. H has got a question here. Do you have limit sells in place, or are you going to wait for the move up and actively sell as it's moving up? Yeah, I don't have any limit sells in place right now. I will be moving, or I will be selling as things move up in time, if they move up. Oh, gosh. Fingers crossed that things move up because, man, this cycle is completely different from what we've seen in the past here. Omar has a question here. Is Riot still selling Bitfarms? It seems like it. They might be. Right? They might have to report if they sell some more in the coming days. I don't know exactly when, but yeah, I think they're going to be selling, continuing on here. As time goes on, they're going to be selling. Let's see. Dave says, they say Bitfarms will reverse split and dilute more before filing for bankruptcy. How true is this? Well, bankruptcy you can forget about. I don't think they're going to bankruptcy. They have a loan with somebody for $350 million total. They got $50 million in it right now, and that's to build out their HBCI business. Okay, so they have that going for them. They're still generating revenue, as it is right now. They're generating roughly, what is it, around 19, 20 million right now a month in revenue, right? I'm thinking, is that correct? Yeah, somewhere around there. Somewhere around there, they're generating revenue there. And then they still have some profits. They're selling a lot of it to pay off the electricity, everything, electricity operations, things like that. So they still have a HODL position also. I'm not sure exactly how much Bitcoin they have left, but they do have that, and I don't see them going bankrupt anytime soon here. The reverse split could possibly happen, and will they dilute more after it? That's definitely a possibility there. We've seen that with Hive. Hive did a reverse split. I think they did a 5-to-1 reverse split a couple years back, I think it was 2 years ago, and they've diluted since then as well. All these companies, even when they do a reverse split, they will dilute eventually. So I think that will happen here. But the bankruptcy, I don't see that happening. Okay, Omar's got another question here. Can you do more polls, like in the future show, throughout the shows? We can start one every so often. Yeah, I can do more polls. If you guys want me to do polls on things, yeah. I try to do polls every once in a while that I'm interested in, but if you guys have something, definitely let me know. Bar says, crazy to HODL through that selling pressure. Yeah. You're talking about Bitfarms there with Riot selling it. Yeah. I mean, there's going to be consistent selling pressure for the next couple of weeks, months, I'm guessing, from them as they try to load off all their shares. So I'm figuring I'm already down on it, but I'm up in the past, and I was in the green, so I'm like, I can let this stuff ride. I don't have that much anymore anyways. Neville says, why sell personally? I'd hold and sell after BTC rips, then look to buy back once the bear market sets in, not financial advice. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm doing as well. And if we have a bear market, again, I don't know if we're going to have another bear market, at least not like the ones we've had in the past, right? Having 70, 80% drops in Bitcoin. I don't know if we're going to see that. The reason I say that is we have too many companies now holding it on their balance sheets. It would mean everybody would have to be selling at that point. I think we would have to go into like World War III in order for that to maybe change, which I do not want to see happen. And but yeah, we'll see on it. All right, guys and gals, I think we're gonna call it a day. We're in 30 minutes roughly here, and I'm starting to feel allergies coming on here. Starting to feel my nose starting to itch. And my eyes are starting to water out. So I know something's coming up with my allergies. So we're going to call it a day here and see where things end up tomorrow. All right. So I greatly appreciate you guys, as always, coming in, spending time with me here for a little bit, chatting, asking questions, and commenting on things as well. I hope you guys have a great night. Love you all. And Marcus says right now is the best time to buy now. Dollar cost averaging, because we could go down even lower. But nonetheless, love you all. I will see you guys tomorrow. We'll cover whatever happens with the miners as well, and then look at other things as well. Okay. Have a great night. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.